Dear friends, welcome to another video of Inspired Souls. Today we are going to discuss about the topic called positive vibe through the life of Saint Francis of Assisi. So first we should know who is Saint Francis of Assisi. So let me tell a little life sketch about the life of Saint Francis of Assisi. So friends, once the Marxist leader Lenin once has remarked as he was on his deathbed. Russia needed 1 dozen of Francis, not the other one. Okay, why he told that Russia needed 1 dozen of Francis? Because he understood the meaninglessness of the war and other things, war and weapons. So he thought about ahimsa and he understood Francis has practiced ahimsa in his life. So, practice of ahimsa or non-violence we can see in the lives of many great people like Mahatma Gandhi, Abraham Lincoln, and other people who have fought for the freedom of their country and they have accomplished their dream too through ahimsa. So all of them have followed ahimsa uniquely. So here we have our character or our hero Saint Francis of Assisi who had a unique practice of ahimsa or non-violence in his life. So Saint Francis was born in a city called Assisi in Italy, and he was a very joyful and very energetic man. And his father was one of the rich merchants of that city, and he wanted his son to be a knight, means a warrior. So the same was the desire of the Francis, and Francis participated in many regional wars between Assisi and Perugia, that is a neighboring place. And if he participates in a great war, he will be given the title as the knight. So for that he traveled to the another place, and on his way he took rest in a valley called Spoleto. It is at this time he had the turning point of his life. It was the peak of his youthful days, and as he was taking rest in the Spoleto, he got a revelation from the God. It may be we call it as a revelation from God, but it may be sometimes the voice of his consciousness, or God is speaking in his consciousness, whatever interpretation we can give. So anyway, the voice was like this: Francis, do you want to serve the servant, or do you want to serve the master? So what answer we may say? So a person who is intelligent will answer, I want to serve the master, not the servant. So Francis also replied in that way. He wanted to serve the master. Then the voice again told to him, if you want to serve the master, go back to your hometown. So Francis could not participate in the war, and he decided to go back to the town. From there onwards, Francis' life had a turning point. He had fallen from his dreams, and he experienced a vacuum inside his mind, a kind of meaninglessness. And this meaninglessness was a search for truth inside his mind. And Francis, as he was a Christian, he went and sat in a dilapidated church nearby, and that church had a crucifix, and this crucifix is known as the crucifix of Sant'Amiano. So the church name is also Sant'Amiano, and he was sitting inside that demolished church and looking at that crucifix and spending hours there, as he did not know the purpose of his life or the purpose of voice he heard in the valley of Spoleto. And he was sitting for a long time like that. Again he heard the voice of his consciousness that was, rebuild my church. So Francis thought that he wanted to rebuild the church of Sant'Amiano as it was in a destroyed form, and he started to rebuild that church brick by brick. And later he understood that is not the purpose. The God meant the humanity. He wanted to build the church of humanity, the humanity that is depressed, that is going away from the meaning of life. So he wanted to rebuild the lives of the humanity. God wanted him to rebuild the life of humanity. So here his life takes a new turning point, and he has another perception on life, and he developed a great universal concept which is matching to our Indian concept of Vasudeva Kudumbakam. He started to see all the creation of God as his own brothers and sisters. he told to his own father that heavenly father is his father, and he even left home also. So there started a change in Francis life. He abandoned everything that belonged to his family, and adored the world as his own family, and he chose the world as his own family. And there he started to lead a carefree life by begging from door to door, and praising God, as well as calling everything as brother and sister. He developed a very positive concept of his life, very positive life. He addressed the sun as his brother, moon as the sister, and all around the world he started to enjoy. He heard properly the voice of the birds, which he was not listening before. He had a new perception in life, and so many he got also people who had his own same thinking pattern started to follow him, and they have formed themselves as a community. And Francis led a very poor and obedient life, and that life was the speciality of that life was he enjoyed that life very most. Even at his deathbed, he had an early death at the age of 44, and during that time he told to his own followers to remove all his clothes and lay him on the bare ground, so that when the sister death, he calls the death as sister. See the positive concept he has on even on the death. When the sister death comes and embraces him, he can go very freely to sister death. So that kind of a positive life he outlook he had on life. He had led a poor life, but he was all the more satisfied. So if we look around ourselves, we can see so many rich people, but they are very poor in their own minds. So let us develop also a positive. Times we may not be able to become like Francis of Assisi, but we can also have a positive attitude in our own life. So Francis was addressed as the second Christ. No other saints got the recognition as the second Christ, as he had lived a very authentic life that is very much attached to the life of Christ himself. So even though we may not be able to lead a life sometimes of Francis of Assisi exactly, we can also imbibe certain spirit of Francis of Assisi in our lives by having a very positive outlook on our life. He had even the great grave reality in our life is death. Even that grave reality of death also he could embrace it with a positive and loving attitude. So when we have the troubles and tribulations in our life, let us also accept those troubles and tribulations with an equanimity and with a sense of love and attachment, or all the more with a heightened perception, like Francis of Assisi. Even though it is miserable for us to accept certain difficult feelings in our life, let us accept them with a positive attitude, and see also the hand of God in that, like Francis of Assisi. Thank you, dear friends.